Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I am the Rascal. Today, I'll be showing you how to image fix an old photo. I have already fixed the photo. Had a request to fix this photo right here. It's a friend of mine's father, grandfather, I can't remember. It's in a really old photo, really rough shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this thing worthy of tattoo art. So let's get started. So the first thing that I did is, since he's going to want only the actual photo of the person, what I do and what I like to do is isolate just the person. Now, the difficult thing with photos like this is you want to keep, especially for tattoos, the hard edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the way I didn't do it, which would have been a little bit harder, at least in my perspective. So you take the magic wand tool, now you have pretty much the whole thing except for, so the way I've done it, because every time you use the magic wand for this photo, for some reason, you touch this area, it's going to shoot off, or the magic wand is going to want to select more things in that area. So we're going to do Alt with the mouse button. And be able to subtract all of the border that we don't want for the most part. We're going to want that arm back in there. So let go of Alt. I'm going to re-grab the rest of this shirt right here. A little overlap is no big deal. I mean, we're going to fix that in a second anyway. Now, this isn't a speed through. Like I said, it's going to be more of tutorial based, where I'm able to do and then show, and then maybe I'll do my other version of what I've done for this photo, which the guy I did this for seems to actually like the way that I did it, and he's going to use it for a photo, or for a tattoo. Okay, so we have pretty much everything. Oh, we forgot part of his ear. Okay, so we got pretty much, or we have everything that we want. So now I'm going to Control C, which is going to copy. Go up here, create a new layer. Control V to add. Now, the best way I like to find out if my borders in my, like, say if I kept this hard edge, is you hide this, and now you can see everywhere that it's kind of flush, where it's choppy. This is why I didn't like doing it the way that, makes the most sense. As you can see, when you come back to this, the hat is actually missing quite a few pieces. So, I'm going to take you through it the way I've done it. And again, this is just the first step that I've done for this guy. Okay, so most people, I wouldn't say most, but beginners, they're going to look at this and go, okay, I'm going to take black. No, I want to keep the abstract the same, and I'm going to take, a couple of samples, see which one. And now this looks black, but I compared it. Let me show you. So if we do, the color it is now 100%. Okay, and now if we do a absolute black, You can see the difference big time. I'm going to edit, undo brush tool. So what you're going to want to do is, again, take this, get a couple of matches. And now for the hard border, what I've done is I've taken this and pretty much colored in everything that's not going to be necessary. But we're going to keep the color of the background, so that way, for one, it still retains the same image quality. So when you are making changes to the photo itself, the photo of the person in the middle, when you're making those type of changes, you can still see the color difference. And then say you add on some graphical changes, or change it from this to black and white, everything's going to fit nicely. Okay, so that's pretty much the border. But, as you can see, I left some around him. That's because I didn't want to distort or damage the image. So, what we're going to do is drop this to about 4 pixels. Now, I wouldn't recommend this. Again, the best way to do this, and I will say this, with the magic wand, and then just fix it. But I'm not saying I'm doing it the harder way. I'm just saying I'm doing it the most proficient way for me, in my opinion. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 2 pixel brush and we're going to trace out every bit of detail so the photo still holds its so he gets like more of a defined edge. Again, this is going to be for a tattoo. I've already have the finished product I could show at the end. We should be able to get through all of this photo in one sitting. Let's make the brush a little bigger. So once you have like the border, you can kind of remove everything that you don't want around him. And you can see it's still pixelated a little bit. I'm going to show what I do to, or what I've done to remove the pixelization and kind of give the photo a bit more detailed look. And another thing, if you're new to Photoshop or if you don't do Photoshop very often, one thing I will tell you is don't be afraid to let go of the mouse cursor, because, for example, if I am working in this hard area right here and I gotta get all these little bumps. Now, I was able to do that in one swipe. Say I went, now I can hit edit, undo brush, and it's gone. Now, say I was working on this and did this through, it would delete all of the stuff that I just did for it. So instead of deleting just the spot that you didn't want to happen, you're going to delete everything and have to keep redoing things. So as you can see, we have kind of a defined edge that is a little choppy around the edges. Again, we're going to fix that. This is kind of a rough spot in the photo that we will not be able to 1000% fix, but we are going to do our best. Again, I'm just going to trace. We're going to trace all of this out. And the reason why I'm doing it a couple times here is because it's near a spot in the photo where I have to be very careful not to cut out any of him. Had to leave just a bit more room for us to enlarge our brush. And let's get rid of this. Again, so, again, the reason why I didn't use black is because if you see the color that I'm using here keeps the same balance between this color and that color, rather than going jet black, make the image pop, and then you're going to see every excruciating detail that's not correct with your photo, and you're going to be driving yourself crazy. Now, I would do that had it been a different request for this photo. Yep, see? That's exactly why I don't hold the mouse button for too long. I cut off a little part of his face. So what I'm going to do is make it a little easier on myself for now. The hat's going to be a little bit more difficult because it doesn't have a defined edge here. So we're going to have to kind of imagine if we were in the 20s, 30s, 40s, when this photo was finished. Oh, see? Did it again. I almost got too confident. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of trace around where I believe the hat is. Now again, for with a photo like this, there is no wrong answer for that. But if you're not careful, you will distort the image, make something look crazy, and then all your hard work goes in the garbage. And I'll show you examples of that towards the end. Let's get this thing a little bit smaller. I personally like using the square tool too, by the way. I feel like especially for tracing, it gives me more freedom. And see right here, you can see that a little here and there I am nicking at the shirt. But that's the reason I don't have definitive black. Like, I didn't pick the color palette black. And I'd rather go with the eyedropper and get a sample of stuff that's around. So once I do fill all of this in, and I'll actually show you when I'm done with this part. So now that that's all filled in, even though I took out a little bit of that photo, if I fit on screen, it looks like it still belongs. It's still color coordinated. Now, the photo that I did give him, the finished product, did take a bit more time than this. It took me a few hours because I was careful and I made sure 1,000% that all the details were intact, that it was something he was going to enjoy, because again, this was somebody's family member that they are going to want permanently tattooed, so I had to bring out details and stuff like that. I'm going to show a brief synopsis how to do it and the before and after, but right now I'm just going to kind of do a brief synopsis on how to get this all cleaned up the proper way. Let's go back to our 2 or 3. The less experience you have with Photoshop, especially with tracing items onto here, the smaller the pixel size you want to do. I could go with a bit bigger, but I'm just using this as an example for people that don't necessarily use Photoshop as often as I do. As you can see now, I have a definitive hat shape. And some of you who are proficient in Photoshop are gonna, nitpick and be like, okay, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Sure, I've done things wrong, but again, this is a quick show through video. This isn't a, you know, I was going to show you a before and after, full-fledged, we're going to do this thing, you know, like it's going to be presented to the client. I took absolute precision and time with that photo. Because again, it's a family member of theirs, and they want to remembrance forever from that photo, so I was able to squeeze in just enough stuff and make him enjoy and make him see his relative through a photo. Gonna let go right there. Again, let go of your left mouse cursor here and there, so that way you can stop and pause. And the way my brain works is I have to stop, pause, and take away something, so it actually looks like we're making progress rather than just tracing out the whole image. Rather than taking out the whole image and then, you know, filling everything out, because then it just feels monotonous. Alright, let's fit it on screen. As you can see, pretty much everything is gone. He is definitive shaped. We do have a couple of touch-ups we can do. Alright, now next we're going to remove this hard line across his face. That one's most crucial. That's the first thing that I was asked. So you see how this is very pixelated, and this is going to be left in. This is going to be how I like to depixelize things. Now, if you go through YouTube, you're going to find out people do this all the time. Image, resize. And then you're going to play with this. For this specific photo, I found out that about 150 to 200 is about what you want. So I'm going to go 200 pixels. So as you can see, it's not as pixelated. We can go farther in. You're not going to see any pixelization. But that's also going to work in the tattoo artist's advantage once we sharpen up this photo and bring him more to life. So let's get in here. And here's another. See how the eyes are kind of faded? We're going to fix that. We're going to fix the mouth, make it pop out a little bit more. We need to fix this area. Actually, we'll do that now since that's technically a border. See, we get up nice and close to this image. And shave that off. Now let's double check to make sure we didn't actually damage the integrity of the photo. No, we did okay. There's a little bit missing right here. No, that's alright. Again, this isn't going to be... Whoa! Again, this is not going to be a perfect session. I will show you the before and the after of the photo that I presented to him. So... Okay, so we're going to get rid of this line. So I like to first take the spot healing tool, and we're going to see what kind of difference. See, that takes away some of that, but we're going to spot heal that line for the most part. Okay, so now you see we need to get a little bit of darkness back in here. So take your spot tool or your eyedropper, get a little sample. Now this is important. Don't go blasting 100% right there. What you want to do is take your opacity, drop it to about 10%. So that way, as you're doing brush strokes, you can layer it so it actually will blend in with the photo. As you can see, you can still see the rough edges. So what you're going to want to do is go to blur. Drop this to about 20%. And now we're going to blur this into his skin. And if you look back, if you look away from the screen, don't focus on the lines. And now you look back, and it looks like part of the photo. So we're going to kind of do the same thing here, only it looks like this part of his ear needs to be a little bit more defined. So we're going to take our eyedropper, get a little bit of a sample. So to get more defined of the ear, because we know that ears are not this close to the face. So what you want to do is take what you found here, add a little bit more going this way, bring some down, and now go back to our blur tool, do the same thing, and now how much you want to bet we look at that. Look at that. He's looking good. The problem we're having is the nose, because that we do know that this was from the paper, sort of. So what we're going to do is go back to the blur tool, drop it just a little bit more, and now we're going to blur this in a little bit. But you don't want to blur his face too much, because we're going to lose the integrity and the details. Now we can do the same thing with the hair. Since this is going to be a tattoo, I'm going to show you what we could do with the hair. If you do just up to the hair brim or the line, and you do gentle spot fixes. Again, if he's doing this as a tattoo, it's only just helping the integrity of the photo at this point. I don't think we're going to mess with that. There's a spot here. Gone. He's got spots here. These spots... those spots I would recommend talking to a client, like especially if it's a newer photo. Talk to the client that you're working with, or use your point of reference for your whatever photo you're trying to fix, and say that they had that spot in the middle of his forehead was something they actually had. You're going to want to spot. You're not going to want to spot fix that and remove that. So my suggestion to you would be to take a point of reference, another photo. He only has this photo, so we were just going to guess that he didn't have a birthmark right in the middle of his forehead. Let's make that blend in a little bit better. Okay, so that's our photo of him so far. Now what we want to do is bring him more to life. So the first thing I suggest, or that I've done, is we're going to adjust his sharpness. Make sure you have this over here. What you want to do is adjust the percentage. What you're going to see differences. I used it at about 150, and then just up the radius a little bit, and you can see the changes happening. Look at that. It already looks like he came into the photo before. Let's go, especially for this older photo. And for editing purposes, we're going to do We'll do 22. Now he looks nice and he's out front. You can actually see definitively where his shapes are. His eyes are coming out. But for tattoo's sake, our guy is not going to want whatever this is. I don't know if this is body hair or just the shadow of the shirt. So what I did is we're going to now take our lasso tool, get a little bit bigger size. Now some people will do this all at once, but again, I'm not most people, so I'm going to do Control Copy, Control V, and now we have his neck. We're going to name the layer neck over here. We're going to make another new layer. Let's zoom in a bit. A little bit too much. Okay, we're zoomed in. We're going to want... Oh, forgot to select the layer. We're going to want just his face for the most part. Alright, and one thing that I would suggest for this, to keep more details in a face, is now hold Alt and do not take the eyes with you for this step. So now the eyes are cut out. Same with the mouth. You're going to want a little bit more mouth. There you go. And probably just a little bit of nose. But you don't want that piece in the middle because that's part of his skin. And I'll show you why in 2 seconds. Okay, so Control C. Click your new layer. Control V. Face, skin. One more time, we are going to add a new layer. Now this time, do not select the whole face. We are only going to focus on the eyes. The mouth. Whoop. The mouth. Whoop. Still not working correctly. Oh. Alright then. We're going to have to do it the other way, since I can't get this thing to stop selecting everything. So we're going to do the eyes, the mouth. And this doesn't have to be the same as the photo there. Just generally get everything, because we can move layers up and down. And then a bit of nose. But we don't want all that. We just want like the detailed parts. Okay, now we're going to Control C. Control V. Face details. Alright, so you're going to see what we're going to do is we're going to hide this. That's what we have selected. And see there's some parts missing. Not a big deal. So what we're going to do is we are going to hide this. We're going to hide the details there. And we're going to work on the neck first. Which we could do that in the face at the same time, but again, I'm going to show you why. So, you're going to select the neck layer, go to Filter, and then go to Blur, Gaussian Blur. Drop it to 0.1 so you can watch it happen. 1.3, 2.0. we'll say it's 2.5. So it's going to blur this out a little bit, and let's try a little bit higher. And let's go 3.5. Okay, so now we're going to bring the face back, and you can see the difference. Now the face you're going to have to be the most careful with, especially having the eyebrows in here. We're going to fix the eyebrows before we finish the photo. So now you're going to go to skin layer, or the face skin, go to blur, Gaussian blur. Again, you're not going to want to go that much, that's why I have them separated. And you just want to go, as you can hear me going through my keyboard, you just want to go high enough where you start seeing the facial features, or the skin itself, not the features, get blurred. So we're going to use 2.0. So you can definitely see the difference between there. Now we're going to bring back these, but the best way to do this is to have it on him already. So we're going to, this is a damage to the photo, but I noticed for this photo in general, it doesn't really hurt it since there's only 3 colors. We're going to high pass it. Ooh, I went to the wrong layer. So we want to go to face details, filter, other, high pass. And now you want to bring your pixels till you can just barely see the details in the gray. So right about there. Let's take it back just a little bit. 1.6. And now we're going to go with a soft light, hard light, vivid light, and see which one we like the most. Linear light. Let's go with a hard light. And now if you take it away and show it, you can actually see his eyes become foggy without it. That's because it's kind of like a cheat version of to straighten out the photo, to maybe like sharpen just certain areas. It doesn't actually say sharpen. I don't understand what high pass really is. Now we can look to see what the face skin's going to do for it, and it does blur it out a bit. We're going to see what that does. We're actually going to move the eyes up and the neck to here. Look at that. Let's take away all the detail we've done. Now, neck, face skin, eyes. It's the small details that you're going to count for this. Especially when he goes to take this to a tattoo artist, he blows it up, makes it nice and big on the screen for him, so he can get these defined edges to tattoo on him, to get it to make his stencil. So what we're going to do is to bring the eyes to life a little bit more, take a little bit of detail. That's way too big already. We'll do 2. Take this up to about 20, let's do 30% since I know how to do this. And give him a little bit better of a line. Again, this isn't steps that I've taken 100% of the time. But take that. So we're going to start in here. Ugh, I don't like that. Alright, so what we're going to do, instead of doing all that, we're just going to... Wow! Oh, okay, never mind. My hand is bumping over my own mouse pad. Or my mouse wire. Alright, so... Let's see if that made a difference. Look at that. See, because you look at that close up at the mark that I made, and you're like, oh god, it's going to distort the picture. But really, you go to the pixels that you're going to see the image at, and right here, you can see the line. And right here, you can see it a little darker, which actually helps the image. So the last thing we're going to do for this video is I'm going to merge the visible. Now, this is not what I presented to him. I will show you in a couple of steps, or a couple of previews. Alright, as you can see, this is going to be a short little flip book of the progression of the photo from when I did the border. I am the Rascal, and I will see you in the next video.